What's going on, guys? Evan the Xena Gears Enthusiast here, bringing you another gameplay commentary for the Xbox 360 version of Dark Souls. This will be part 4 in my Elly gameplay commentary series, where I sort of highlight the important elements of a character's growth, talk about things you want to know how to do, and just in general share the journey of this character from soul level 2 or whatever a cleric starts at, and show the grind all the way up to level 125 to be player versus player ready at the standard PvP cap, which is between 120 and 130. There are, of course, other areas to do higher PvP ranges, but that's kind of the standard, and I'm not really looking to stay low soul level and grief people. You're going to see me pan to the right here. That body is where you get the key to the second floor of the Undead Asylum. Undead Asylum, excuse me. Which is, of course, where Elly's going right now. But I had already grabbed it previously when I came up here just kind of goofing around, so just figured I'd show everyone on the video where it's at, and you want to grab that before you come here. The only thing you really need to have access to the Asylum is you had to have reached the Undead Parish to get access to the elevator to get that jump off the elevator shaft onto this platform. To my knowledge, it's the only way up here, so you have to be at least as far as the Undead Parish, but I'd want to be a little further, unless you intend to just grind it out with the Great Sword. I'm coming to the Undead Asylum with the Astor Straight Sword, which actually does significantly less damage than the Drake's Sword, which is a bit of a frustration, only because standard enemies are at the Asylum. There's no advanced enemies here other than the boss, which is a really simplistic AI in the fight. But they all have a significant higher amount of life than other enemies encountered up to this point. They have a similar life to sort of the Undead Parish Elite Knights, maybe a little less, but they do a lot more damage quickly, at least in my experience. Torch-wielding zombies always seem to rack up the damage on me really quick. There's also 2 Black Knights here, and an upgraded version of the Stray Demon as a boss, the Asylum Demon or whatever it is. It's not a huge deal. There's a bonfire right before the boss fight, so if you lose, no big. Right there. I hate how straight swords have that second attack is that upward slash. I always miss it. I've kind of been putting off doing this commentary, guys, because it takes me a while to grind out the Undead Asylum this time. It will not necessarily take you this long if A, you come with a better weapon, or B, you just don't screw up as much on the small fry enemies like I did. It wasn't something I was particularly proud of, and it also took me a long time to grind through the Black Knights. Low damage combined with bad playing and stuff like that. All in all, it wasn't a fantastic run of the Asylum, but I thought it was important to include, only because it when you defeat the boss of this area, you'll get a Tantanite slab, which is critical to this character's development. I'm trying to include, anything that's really critical to the character. It's getting dangerously close to just being a standard Let's Play, only commentated after the fact. That's fine, but I do edit out a lot of things. Like I edit out the soul farming. Now here you're going to see me play with my levels for a little bit and see, just what I could level up, what I could do with it. Nothing too critical here. In fact, I know I wind up saving all my points anyway. When I'm trying to plan out my characters, I know I can safely go up to 40 endurance because, up to 40 endurance, every point you add actually increases your stamina bar, and it's just hard to justify not maxing out the stamina bar on any character. I know some quote-unquote optimized builds for like the 125 PvP cap encourage you to stop sometimes at 30 or 35, just because sometimes you don't need it to chain meaningful combo attacks together, because that's a big part of PvP is chaining attacks together. Once you land one attack, just to keep attacking and keep them sort of stun locked. Actually, I think that's a technical term for it online. I'm not a great PvP player. That will come out later when I actually get this character to the point she can PvP. But I haven't really had a fair shake. I PvP'd a lot in Demon Souls, just kind of playing around, so I'm sure those skills will transfer over a little bit, but I still need to adapt to the new cheese of this game, which is the Darkwood Grain Ring. And that's something I want to talk about. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Darkwood Grain Ring, it's probably the sickest item in the game, at least the sickest ring at the bare minimum. It pretty much belongs on almost any character build. I mean, I've seen people not use it and do well, but you can probably find a guy that's using like broken straight sword and doing well. I mean, I saw a guy on YouTube doing invasions where he's beating people with just his just a spike shield to beat him down with smite. Or shield bash, I guess it's called. I'm thinking of Diablo 2. That's neat and everything, but it just goes to show you that there's some really not so good players out here. Not that I'm that good, but I'm pretty confident I wouldn't lose to a shield basher. think I'd just run away from him if I had to. The Black Knights on in the Asylum, they can string really long attacks together, and they chase you down and you try to heal. So it's important to learn the openings in their attacks. They're pretty obvious. Like right after the Sword Bash, Shield Push combo is a good time to heal. You have to be careful with these the 5-hit chain combo, his main sword combo, because it'll be difficult to tell sort of when it's gonna end and when it doesn't. You can walk yourself into bad situations. I'm also struggling to get the back stats because it's hard to get my position behind him in this really narrow corridor, which is obvious why he's positioned here. I mean, it's supposed to be a challenging fight in a challenging area. These guys are really good to take out early game though, because they drop stones needed to make dragon weapons, which is probably the earliest elemental weapon you can get. So that's pretty cool. So if you're looking to make sort of like a low-level, soul level 30 cheese PvP character, you don't want to grind all the way up to Anor Londo, I mean, this is a good place to do it. You can get some stones here and trade with Snuggly to get some more items. I will not be including the Snuggly the Crow trades. For those of you that don't know, it's as simple as you can look up a list online. You can leave a certain item in the Crow Nest, which is in the Undead Asylum area, and the bird will call if it likes it. Then if you save and quit your game and load it up, you will find the corresponding item laying in the nest for you to pick up. And all the rules and all the little tricks for it are online. They fixed the infinite item exploit with it though, which is pretty awesome. But anyway, that's that. I don't really think to commentate here until we get to the boss fight. I've already uploaded a video of defeating the boss of the Asylum, but I'll talk about it again when we get there. In the meantime, you'll see them on this video, but it's imperative that you get certain items here, particularly the Rusted Iron Ring before Blighttown, because it lets you move freely in swamps or areas with quote-unquote poor footing, which is thick water, swamp, slime, stuff like that. All really useful things to be able to move quickly in. So a situational ring for sure, but nevertheless fantastic. Sort of doing my taunt there, sort of in shame of how badly that went. Other important items here is you want the Peculiar Doll here. That lets you access the Painted World later once you reach Anor Londo. It's right up ahead. It's not hidden at all. There's really nothing too terribly hidden here. See, now this is where I knew I was struggling with this commentary. It's under halfway, and there's not a whole lot to narrate in the Asylum, unfortunately. It's a pretty straightforward area where you just grind out the Asylum demon. I guess I'll tell you guys about the Darkwood Grain Ring. You acquire it, and those will be in this video. You acquire it by killing Shiva's bodyguard. He's a member of the Force Covenant. So basically the quick steps are join the Force Covenant, that gets Shiva to appear, kill Shiva and his bodyguard, get the drops including the Darkwood Grain Ring. Once it's equipped, it lets you do ninja flips, which you probably see people doing online. It's a popular thing. It's a really good ring. But even beyond the ninja flips, another great feature is it lets you have full run speed and full roll speed at 50% encumbrance when normally it's 25. So it gives you 25% more equip carry. It's crazy good. You guys may remember this guy from the start of the game. This guy's important to get if you want to go deal with the Moonlight Butterfly, because the Moonlight Butterfly is principally a spellcaster, and his shield he'll drop once I get him has, I think it's 100 magical resistance or nearly 100. That's something you're going to want for that fight. It's not a hard fight, but that just makes it so much easier. And this guy's a complete pushover, so I mean, I'm only taking hits because I'm just not worried about it. It's like, he can hit me, it's fine, he does no damage. Nice shield though, and he's actually wearing the Elite Armor set, which is a pretty solid armor set. Like, it's good, for sure, so. Now, not that he drops it, you find it in the Darkwood Garden, but still, the fact that he's wearing it, he gets props for that. Recently got nerfed in a patch, that's how good it was before. Well, I guess with that said, I can sort of share my ultra embarrassing moment today. Well, let me roll back. Let me roll back and start the story over. I'm fortunate in that I've never had an actual speeding ticket issued to me. I've been pulled over numerous times. And I've talked my way out of it. The first time, the cop turned his lights on, but he didn't really pull me over. And I'm sure he turned his lights on to me, so I can only guess that he became distracted with some other more urgent situation. And I was speeding for sure, so if he wanted to catch me, that'd be no problem. So something clearly must have distracted him. Another time I got pulled over at Walmart, or on my way to Walmart to actually buy the 42-inch TV that I'm currently playing Dark Souls on. And he pulled me over and he talked to me. He's a local police officer here in town, and he, just asked me to slow it down. He didn't ticket me, and that was pretty exciting. Another time I got pulled over for plates on my sticker because they were out of date, but I had the new stickers in my glove, so once I showed him that, he was pretty satisfied and he didn't pull me over, and that was pretty cool. There's the rusted iron ring. I think super important. Today, I did not get pulled over, but the next stage of this little car history is I've never had a traffic accident. I've never really had an accident, period. Things have just gone really well with me. Now, here's the sad part. Years ago, back in high school, the first year I had my car, I hit a curb because I am not smart, and it put a really big dent in my wheel, down by my wheel rather, and sort of bent the rim, and it was ugly. And I have a family friend who's into the car repair business, so he was able to fix it up really cheap, and he's pretty awesome. I was really excited about it, and I kind of vowed I'd always drive a little safer. Well, I actually made good on my word. I stopped speeding after I got pulled over a couple times. Kind of remember that story, and I stopped speeding. Now, my friends kind of give me a hard time sometimes because they think I drive poorly, and that's actually untrue, but it's not their fault for believing that. Sometimes I intentionally do stupid things. Not like really stupid, like, hey, let's go drag race. No, little minor things, like I'll pull into a parking spot really quick, or just things like that. Things like that just sort of get a kick out of my buddies. It's not a big deal. I've never done anything where I was out of control of the car. No accidents have ever occurred. So, all in all, pretty good history, right? Well, today on my way back from Burger King, which is my favorite restaurant ever, by the way. I'm an absolute Burger King addict. I was on my way back from Burger King without incident, and it was raining, and I was going to pull into the parking lot here in front of my place of employment, and I had my boss with me and one of my coworkers. And he pointed, my boss pointed at that spot, and I was like, oh, okay, good spot, because it was right along the road, right in front of the door. And normally those spots are taken, so pretty good deal, and I wouldn't say excited, but I was, sure, I'll take that spot. Now, I'm coming in pretty fast at this point. I've got sort of a Coke in between my legs, like I filled up my fountain pop on my way out because I'm a fatty. So, on my way out, in my glorious common sense, put it between my legs. Oh, now it won't spill over. Everything's going to be perfect. Well, that's true to a point. Nothing went wrong with the drink. I can acknowledge that safely. So, long story short, I try to pull into this parking spot along the curb, and I come in at maybe a good 30 miles an hour, trying to mash my brakes to slow down. Normally the car's more responsive than it was. Sort of the drink sort of splashes up on my crotch and my pants a little bit, and that throws me off too. I'm completely distracted at this point. And basically, long story short, and you fall through the floor here to fight the boss, and once you fall down here, you can't get away, so don't come down here until you're ready to fight the boss. And you guys like that subtle transition to the boss battle? But I already have a video on how to beat this guy. The long story short is stay behind him, and watch out for the fact his explosion there, which is his primary attack, will hit behind him. I'm not going to describe this boss fight any further, because it really is as simple as staying behind him and two-handing, because your shield's not going to do much. Probably also want to bring a weapon that does more damage, because this is the majority of the video, just hacking away at this guy. It's not a flawless victory, but it goes pretty well. I don't take any deaths while trying to do this, and that's always a treat, because this early in the game he can one-shot you, unless you pump vitality or you're wearing some really strong resistance armor. For me, neither of this is true. He also can't get between his legs like Iron Golem very easily, which kind of makes me sad. It made things a lot easier. You cannot cut off his tail, so you don't need to do anything cute with that. You can just kind of beat him down. Anyway, with sort of my 30-second version of how to fight the Stray Demon, back to my story. So I'm coming in, and I nail this curb, guys. Like, I pretty much mount the curb. I nail it. Bam! Car shakes. My buddy in the back seat who doesn't have a seatbelt on gets some airtime. The guy on the passenger side who's, of course, closest to the bump is, like, looking at me. And that's my boss, of course. My boss is riding shotgun. He gives that smile, like, way to go. Of course, at this point, I'm completely embarrassed, and I'm like, oh, crap. My boss was like, yeah, you probably just blew out your tire. I'm like, I sure hope not, but you're probably right. So I get out of the car. My buddy gets out. You know, they're both on the side where, the passenger side where I drilled my tire. And they're all, I hear them all like doing the, you know, the whistle and the woo. Yeah, well, let's go see the damage. So I turn around, I look down, and oh man, that tire is flat. And at this point, I'm kind of embarrassed about it. I'm like, well, let's just go back to work and I'll worry about it after. So I'm in there talking to my boss, and it doesn't take me long to realize I gotta deal with that now, because I gotta drive to work tomorrow, and you know, I gotta be a functional member of society, and that requires me to have an automobile, in my particular case. So I talked to my boss about it. He says, you know, go ahead, take the day off, get your car work done. You know, I understand you're far from home, and you know, I'm not loaded with money right now. Spent a lot of money getting Christmas gifts and stuff like that, and I had to buy a new set of speakers because my old speakers sucked, and these new speakers are much nicer. So everything ever's going on right now, and that aside, well, let's go get this fixed. He's like, you know, the way you hit it, it's probably not that bad. You know, even if the tire's shot, you can probably patch the tire and get to Walmart. You know, no big deal. Just go check it out. So Lord and behold, I go out there, and no, the tire's gone. There's a big hole in it. It's unpatchable. The tire, it's just gone. No hope, no future. Tire is. So you know, at this point, I'm like, oh, well, now what do I do? So, you know, I guess I decide, you know, simple as this. Walmart's 2 or 3 miles away, and I can buy some new tires there. My current tire's too shot. I've got a donut and a jack in my car. Let's do this thing. Now, for all you car people, that doesn't sound like a big deal. For Evan, not so much of a common thing. My dad showed me how to change a tire once, back in high school, which is, you know, 5 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, my dad showed me how to change a tire. And to be honest, I can't remember if I paid attention or not. Either way, whatever I learned or didn't learn, you know, it was so long ago that I just don't have a lot of recollection of it. So I'm going to call my dad, tell him the situation, pretty embarrassed about it. He generously hooks me up with some cash, because, you know, he's a nice guy. So, yeah. Well, I've got the money to fix the car. Now the next step is actually doing it. And he sort of talks me through the process. So then I call my buddy I mentioned before. It's actually Flesh Mechanic, who's commentated on this channel before on some Black Ops videos. Flesh Mechanic 12. His name's Garrett. He comes, I go, you know, you want to come help me change a tire? He's like, yeah, sure, I'll come out. You know, I've changed a tire before. So we clear out my trunk. Excuse me. We can't find the donut or the jack. What's going on? So I call my dad. He said, you know, make sure you have the owner's manual for your car out so you can follow the steps and make sure you know where to put the jack on and stuff. I'm like, yeah, sure, Dad. So I get it out. I get the manual like he tells me to, but I don't read it. So now at this point I call him like, Dad, where's the jack and the donut? He's like, it's in the trunk. I'm like, nah, I just emptied the trunk. It's not in the trunk. I don't know where it is. Well, did you pull up the rug and look in the compartment under the rug? Compartment under the rug? Yeah, boy. It's in the manual. Well, I have not consulted the manual yet, Dad. So, bam. It's all good. Get that out of there. Get the jack out of there. And I'm disappointed to see the jack is a circular jack. You know, I hate circular jacks. I've never really had a lot of experience working with them before, but I've seen them before. I was kind of picturing like just a pump action jack or whatever it is. Thought that'd be pretty cool, but alas, that's not what I had because it's cheaper to do the little ones. And I'm not a AAA member or anything like that, so I got to deal with this. And my dad, who I probably could have talked into helping me, lives, you know, 3 hours away. So it's on me and Garrett, my buddy Garrett. My boss is kind of more of a car guy than either of us, but he's at work. He can't come out. At least he can't spend a long time out there. But it's a pretty straightforward process. I've seen it in the movies. I kind of remember my dad explaining it. Garrett's done it before. How bad could it be? Well, pretty bad when you're not experienced. You see, the lug nuts, they were pretty tightly in there. They'd been taken off in a significant length of time. The front tires, which is, you know, the tire blew out, the front passenger side tire, actually needed replaced anyway, but hadn't done it because I'm cheap and I was kind of low on cash, and now I'm completely broke. But anyway, got the lug nuts off of there. Tried to. They were just really tight, and you know, I don't consider myself necessarily a weak guy, but I'm definitely not a built guy, so I couldn't turn it. Made me feel pretty bad. Garrett works out a little more than I do. Ooh, premature, ran into the boss's blast there. So he can't pull it off either. I'm like, I don't even know. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe there's some sort of like latch or something stupid like that. I mean, I doubt it, but surely there's a trick here. So, talk to my boss. I'm like, hey, I can't get it off. He replies, well, I think you need bigger muscles. Well, I don't have those, and I'm not looking to start pumping, you know, some human growth hormone into my body there, or from some animal testosterone, whatever it would take, bull testosterone. I'm not doing that, so I'm gonna need your help. And he's like, I'm no stronger than you, man. I'm like, well, we're gonna have to do something. So my boss comes out, and he, of course, just does the easy. Why didn't you use it in the first place? Turns the jack so that it's flat level with the ground and just stands on it. Body weight pushes it and loosens each lug nut for us and says, there you go, boys. He goes inside. Garrett and I finish taking off the lug nuts. That's pretty sweet. We don't take them off, but we loosen them as you should. So then we're trying to crank up this godforsaken circular jack. It sucks because it's right up against the curb, so we can't make a full circle. We have to half turn, pull the metal bar out that torques it up, pull that out. We just keep doing that. Pull out, put it back in. Half turn, pull out, put it back in. It takes us forever. Of course, much to my embarrassment, all my coworkers are seeing this lovely display of shame, and they always, well, what happened to your tire? Well, I'm not smart, and I hit curbs at 30 miles an hour and blow out tires. But ultimately, managed to get the donut on. Campus safety comes over, and they kind of help me out there, and a couple of my friends come over that are pretty knowledgeable about cars, and pretty much just tell me I suck at this, and that I'm an idiot for blowing out my tire. Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad you reminded me. Get it to Walmart, drop $200, get an oil change, get some new tires. All said and done, it's over now. Now I just have to sort of lament the loss of whatever money I did have for my limited budget and just rage. Now, however, if I never need to change a tire again, I'll be ready to go. If you didn't notice, this fight is taking forever with this boss. I'm really glad I have this sort of sob story to tell. I don't think I can commentate a 10-minute fight of repetition. This is a battle of like discipline. How long can you do this without getting a headache? But thankfully it's about over now. This boss drops some pretty valuable stuff. I mean, a big pile of souls. But he also drops some tantanite stuff that, it's really important to grab for pretty much any character. Take my bow for you guys. So, in conclusion, I would like to advise everybody ever not to hit curbs at 30 miles an hour. In case you didn't know, that's not a good idea. But most of you probably already did know that. Now it's just a matter of getting out of the Asylum. Nothing much to see here on this. Just showing you guys the battle through the Asylum. I think one of the more challenging areas in the game, especially because most people like to tackle it probably a little earlier than they should. So, for Christmas, my parents, I believe, are buying me a new microphone to improve my audio quality on these things. I've been told they occasionally listen to them from time to time, and I think they find the audio quality a little atrocious, and I was planning to upgrade anyway. So, I'm pretty excited to have a new microphone coming along. So other than that, no new developments in my personal life. I promise my next commentary will be much more gameplay oriented, but there just wasn't a whole lot to say about the Asylum. Everybody's already been here. The layout hasn't changed. It's all about beating that high life boss, which is a lot easier if you have a weapon that actually does damage, a significant amount of damage. I probably should have come with a Drake sword, but I didn't. Just making mistakes all over the place. Of course, to be fair, the Asylum demon, I delayed this probably 5 days before I actually commentated it, just because I just didn't know what I'd talk about for 25 minutes. And I guess I was kind of waiting for a good story, or at least something embarrassing to share with you guys, and maybe that story fulfilled both qualifications. In any case, I'm going to go up to the crow's nest. There's nothing hidden here. Back along the ledge to the left is the crow's nest I mentioned, where you can exchange items. Do not use the big nest. That's only to sort of ride the bird in and out. And I guess we'll watch the cinematic to ride back. So pretty. I feel bad. Normally in the Elly series, I try to actually stay focused on Dark Souls, but man, 25 minutes grinding in the Asylum, just beating on Asylum demons, or sorry, beating a stray demons behind. Eh, I don't think I could possibly conjure up enough Dark Souls stuff to talk about that. Guess I could have commentated it live, but once again, Evan doesn't do live commentaries very often, despite all the people that request them. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed my little embarrassing I suck at life story, and everyone take care, and I'll see you up at part 5, I believe. I think I've been calling this part 5. Whatever. See you guys then. Bye.